Welcome to the Illuminati broadcast. I'm your host, your Messiah, David Moore. All right, welcome. All right, so let's see. We're going to talk about witches, and we're going to talk about Wiccans, and we're going to talk about Christians, and we're going to talk about how God loves me more than you guys. All right, so I come from a family that's Christian, but they're also Jewish, and they're also pagan, and we also do witchcraft and all kinds of things, right? So we love all of those stuff. And a lot of people will tell you you can't be Christian and be a witch, you can't be a witch and be Christian. um, get out of my face, because I can do all of that. And that's how I know that God loves me more than he loves you, because Jesus lets me do those things, but he doesn't let you do it, right? Because obviously it's not your heritage, it's not your lineage, it's not your path, it's not your destiny. You're just not meant for it, right? um, God picks out his priests, and he didn't pick you. So that's not my fault you didn't get picked. You're the bad guys, not me, you know. All right, so today is 4/21, 2026. Yesterday I won my second Yu-Gi-Oh tournament with the Ubel deck. I'm so happy because it's like, how the heck did I win with the U? It was a Genesis format, so I had to like rearrange the cards and take out all the negators. And I noticed all the cards that I added I didn't even use. So, and I still won. And I'm just like, woo, Ubel. And I'm learning, like, okay, with Ubel, just let her do the work, and you just sit back and watch the game and let it unfold and just follow the rules. And it's so perfect. Ubel is an amazing deck. Um, I don't know. I really like Ubel. I really like to use those cards. She's very competitive. Um, I also want to work on these trap tricks. I want to work on my burn decks. I want to work on something. I want to work on the rockets, the dragon rockets. There's just so many different kind of cards that I can use. All right, so the other day I was watching this thing called something wizards. Dang it. Something about wizards, and it's a 1984, 1985 movie. Um, yeah. Just winning tournaments like that is just proof that like God loves me, right? Like Jesus loves me, because I couldn't do it without him, right? So it's like, that's how I know I'm the Messiah, right? Because it's like, if I couldn't do those things, then God wouldn't let me do it, right? God wouldn't. And I always ask too, because like I remember I would go on field trips, and I would like, and I would get lucky because they'll just be like, hey, we want you, you're gonna go on a field trip out of all the other kids in the class, or we're gonna pick you. And I'll be like, I feel bad, give it to somebody else. And they're like, no, we want you to go. And I'll be like, okay. So that's God's way of saying like, hey, um, I guess it's like that greatness is thrust upon you, right? And even in Jewish mysticism, they're like, well, the prophets, they didn't want to be prophets. God wanted them to be the prophets, right? So I didn't want to be the Messiah, but God was like, you are the Messiah, so you have to take the role. Like, me and you share the same body, we share the same soul, we share everything together. I love you more than everyone else. And even in the Bible, like, God chooses King David. He's like, I love King David. He can sing the best or he can sing the worst, and I still love him more than you guys. And I'll always be with him instead of you guys. And that makes sense, right? Because the Jews are just like always trying to find a way to make God love them more, and God is like, nah, I love David more, and that's me, right? David Moore, David Moreno. I love David Moore. That's what God says every single time. That's what Jesus says every single time. Get over it. You're just jealous. I know it sucks that God doesn't love you as much as he loves me. Yeah, he always answers my prayers. He always helps me out in the thick of it, and he lets me make my own decisions. And he trusts me, and I trust him. And I think that's the most important thing. I think that's what matters the most, right? So, all right. So today's the 21st. Let's count on the chart where we're at. I painted it. I always go over it to paint it more deeper and deeper every day. Um, so you can see like the golds and the yellows are like starting to get more thicker lines. But anyways, so today's the 21st, right? So we're in April. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So now we're gonna look at who's on this sigil. All right. So if we look, this is gonna be 36, right? Because if this is 72, What is half of 72? 36. So 30, and we're going to count by 2. So 2 times. So do you know how to do multiplication with 2s? 2. So 36, 38, 40, 42, 44. But all the corners count as 4s. So 42, 44, 46. So let's count again. 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46, 48. No. 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46, 48. Okay, now we're counting right. Got to count a couple times to get it right, right? Why are the corners 2? So 36, this will be the daytime, this will be the nighttime. 36. So it would be 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, right? Okay. So maybe I counted that wrong. But anyways, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46, 48. So 48 is right here. This row right here. So we're on 48, right? Let's count again. We can even count backwards because what are we? 21st? All right, so this will be the 31st, right? 31, 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21. And I believe that's 48, right? Because this is 50. So we know this is 50 because that's Saturn, right next to Saturn. This is a Forcus. So we're going to go to 48, right? So 50, 48. All right, so let's look at 48. If we noticed so far from what we can tell, there has some Venus energy here because this is Venus. And we have Scorpio energy. But I guess it would be these two, right? Or these four. So we have Scorpio energy. We have this water energy that's connected to Cancer. We have more water energy that's connected to Jupiter. Sagittarius, and another another energy that connects to Jupiter. So let's see if any of those things have anything in common. Sagittarius is fire, Jupiter is water, Cancer is water and the moon, and Scorpio is the moon and Mars. All right, so let's see who we have on those spirits for those days. Let's see. So we're going to go to 50 because we know that one. So it'll be 48 and 49. Oh, cool. All right, so 48 is Hagenti. The 48th spirit is Hagenti. He is a president. Hagenti. Almost like Gentile, right? He is a president appearing in the form of a mighty bull with griffin's wings. He is a president. Presidents are... Where would the presidents be on here? In this direction. Earth. In the north. This would kind of make sense because if this is on the outer ring, it's kind of letting you know. But Hagenti, president, a north. I don't see anything here that represents Earth. That's interesting, right? So this would be the daytime. This would be the nighttime. Interesting. But we can also know that presidents, they're not bound by time. They can go anywhere, anytime, just like Saturn can. And the princes as well, I believe. Let's look. Because it'll tell us what times they can be bound. This is how you work with the Ars Goetia. You double check, you look, you investigate, but you also use your intuition and your best judgment, and you kind of just go with it and just trust the process, right? Because it'll teach you on its own. Let's see, the presidents. Where are you, presidents? They would be purple on this thingy. Presidents may be bound anytime except in twilight at night. So basically, the presidents can go anywhere on this board. They can go anywhere on the board, but this is twilight. So this would be twilight. This would be twilight because it's like that evening, morning time. So I guess this would be twilight. That president era would be twilight. So this is when they can't be bound. I guess you can see it in several ways. Like maybe they're super overpowered at that moment, or they are resting at that moment. Could be either or. But when you bind them, it's usually so you can like call them, like, hey, I need your help with this. So I guess at Twilight they're super active, which kind of makes sense since if this is Twilight era, but then that makes sense because that's where that Cancer and the Moon is, and that's right here because you have Cancer right here, and you also have the Moon right here, and you have Scorpio right here, right? So you have this like triple and that water. Okay, so we're kind of learning, right? We're trying to figure it out, to be honest, right? Um, Appearing in the form of a mighty bull with griffin's wings. All right, so there's a lot of bulls in like Samaritan, I think, or Mesopotamian mythology. It's this huge bull. I think it's called like the Shamesh or the Shamir, something like that. But he's just a giant bull, and he has this beard and he has these wings. I should look him up later because I remember in DJ Conway's book, working with mythical beasts, she can teach you how to summon him, and he's good for like astral projections. Well, it makes sense now, right? A mighty bull with griffin's wings. That's beautiful. This at first, but after the commando. So that makes sense because president is a Taurus, or the Earth sign. So Taurus, Capricorn, and Virgo. So he appears as a bull with griffin's wings. So that lets you know he's like the Earth going into the sky. This at first, but after the command of the Exorcist, he puts on human shape. So he could develop human shape. So basically, you can use these also as oversouls. So in Shaman King, you learn how to make an oversoul. So basically, you use Furyoku, which is spiritual energy, and you could channel it, and then you could take that shape of that spirit. So like, let's say you're working with an ice spirit. It can help you channel ice, and you could become ice and use more powerful ice spells. Alone, you can as well, but it helps facilitate it. Just like you can drink out of a cup, but if you use a spoon, like you can sip it. Or if you eat soup, you can drink the soup out of a bowl. But if you have a spoon, it can help you eat it better, right? Like more efficiently. Or instead of using your hands to pick up food, you can use a fork or chopsticks. So it's like use your brain kind of thing, because people don't know that. They don't know you can do things, right? They just think one way. So they're just like, Jesus is my God and he tells me to do it this way. No, sorry, but Jesus is my God and he loves me more and he tells me to do it another way. And he's usually right. And I'm usually right. So bye. And I think that's another thing. Like, one, I'm afraid of men because growing up, I was always taught to fight other men. So, like, basically a warrior, like, take them out before they take you out kind of thing. And then two, what was I going to say about the two part? So we know that, whatever, we're just going to keep going. He puts on human shape. His office is to make men wise and to instruct them in diverse things. His office? Oh, yeah, and I used to tell, like, but I used to fight with my words. So I would be, instead of fighting with my hands, I would use my words to fight. And I'll be like, well, you might be able to win at everything, but God loves me more. So no matter what, at the end of the day, God loves me more, so I win, right? And everybody would be like, God doesn't love you more. And he does. He loves me way more. He would give me everything I wanted. And then they would be like, God gives you everything you want. And like, they would know the difference. They would know the difference. He puts on human shape. His office is to make men wise and to instruct them in diverse things, also to transmute all metals into gold and to change wine into water and water into wine. He governs 33 legions. All right, so first off, this can teach you a little bit about Jesus because Jesus can turn wine into water and water into wine. So Jesus was a demonologist. Get over it. He's a wizard. He's a witch. He could go between a boy and a girl. That's why he was androgynous. He had long, beautiful hair. He could be Mary Magdalene if you wanted to be. I'm sorry, you're just jealous that we can do that and you can't. That's why pharaohs are usually androgynous as well, and that's why I am the way I am, and I'm beautiful. I'm like, that's why angels and Aryans, yes, Aryans and angels and cherubim, we look like this, and you don't because you're ugly and gross. His office is to make men wise and to instruct them in diverse things, also to transmute all metals into gold. All metals into gold. You can do that in kind of several ways because these are going to be metals, these are metals, these are metals, and this is the gold area. This is gold. This is gold. These are gold. So basically, when you're using alchemy or magic, yes, you can physically turn things into gold, but you can also do it spiritually. So usually when you do it spiritually, you could just imagine like lead in your hand or any kind of metal, and just boop, it'll turn it to gold. It can happen in so many different ways. So it just teaches you how to transmute things. Um, and let's see, what else do we want to think about? Um, Gap, number spirit 33. Actually, let's read him because I was just about to talk about him, because this is how you transmute metal into gold. Gap, the 33rd spirit is Gap. He is a great president and mighty prince. Remember, he rules over 33 legions, so that's Gap. He appears when the sun is in some of the southern signs in human shape. Oh, that makes sense because we have Sagittarius right there. And that's a southern sign, right? Because it's Sagittarius is fire. Going before four and great mighty kings, as he were a guide to conduct them along their way. His office is to make men insensible or ignorant, as also in philosophy to make them knowing, and in all the liberal sciences he can cause love or hatred. Also he can teach thee to consecrate those things that belong to the dominion of Amaimon his king. He can consecrate. So that's what transmuting is, consecrating. Because what are you doing? You're consecrating. Um, let's see. You can consecrate those things that belong to the dominion of Amaimon his king. All right, so if we know what Maimon is a king, we know that kings rule over metal, like iron, right? Because an earl rules over iron and steel. But you're consecrating something to a Maimon, his king, and a king is a sun sign, a sun spirit. And what is the metal of the sun and the kings? Gold. So you're consecrating things. So you could turn a cup into holy water. You could turn a sword into a holy athame. You could turn a wand into a holy wand. You could do a lot of things when you consecrate. And when you consecrate it, you're blessing it. I remember when I was dueling with the Ubel deck, I got super charged with a lot of energy, and instead of just like wasting that energy, I put it into the cards. I just was like, thank you for letting me win. Let's win this tournament. And all that energy went into the cards, and I won the tournament. All right, so you have to, not only do you have to put a little bit of work, you have to put a lot of work and then more work, and everybody does it. But when I do it, I just do it better than everyone else, because God will choose me. So he won't choose you, he'll choose me because God loves me more. And I'm okay with losing. I don't have to win. And even if I lose, I just know that it's in God's will, right? But if I win, then it's like, right. Okay. Change water into wine and wine into water. So that's basically turning. When you turn water into wine, you can do it figuratively or you can do it literally. So what? How do you create grapes? You have to plant a seed and then you have to water it, right? And then it grows, and then it grows the grapes. It absorbs the sun, and then you smash the grapes once they're ripe, and you got wine. Get over it. Get over it. All right. He can deliver familiars out of the custody of other magicians and answers truly and perfectly of things past, present, and to come. So he can deliver familiars out of the custody of other magicians. So like, let's say you have, okay, he can deliver the familiars out of the custody of other magicians. So let's say you have familiars or whatever, and familiars can be anything. Familiars can be like, we'll use Yu-Gi-Oh as an example. They're using these Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Like let's say Seto's using Blue Eyes White Dragon, and then I'm like, oh, I can turn your Blue Eyes against you. He works for me. He belongs to me, so I could turn him against you. And that can go for anything. So like let's say you're hating on somebody. You're like, you're gay. I hate you. I can use that against you, basically. Or let's say you're like, I have all these angels and all these guardian angels, and I have God, and I have all this power behind me. I can be like, no, it belongs to me, so I'm going to use it against you, and you don't have a choice. He can carry and recarry men very speedily from one kingdom to another at the will and pleasure of the exorcist. This can go for two ways. You can do it through astral projection, where you're just like flying to all over the world, and you could be anywhere you want, anytime, all the time, omnipotent. Or you can literally go from here to there. Obviously, it's going to take a little bit longer, depending on the situation, if you want to go from here to there physically. But he can make it happen. You just have to put the work into it, right? It works if you work it. And I just say, honestly, I'm talking to myself at the end of the day, because you can't do any of this, because you're not a Levite, you're not a priest, you're not a Conan, you're not an O'Neill, you're not a high level magician, you're not Jesus. I'm Jesus, you're not. So that means I can control these spirits. Um, there was a time when I let other people use them, but now I'm using them. So when I use them, they work for me. And if I let you use them, then good for you. But if not, then too bad. Like, you can summon these spirits, but it says in the book, if there's somebody stronger using these spirits, they're not going to follow your commands. So a lot of the time they'll do like a lot of curses to bring them out of it. Um, but what I like to do is I like to curse the people that are using them to bring them back. So if there's somebody that's trying to use my spirits and like trying to bind them or chain them or harm them and use my magic against them, I will attack the magician trying to hurt my spirits. I'll release my spirits and then I'll use them against them, right? It's an army, it's a war. Um, cool. And Gap is really cool. In Pokemon, he would be Slowpoke and Slowbro. That's why Slowpoke and Slowbro. That makes sense, actually. That's why he's psychic, right? And a water type, because Gap is a mighty prince and a president. And presidents are usually either earth signs, or so they either use the color yellow or they use the color purple. And what is a psychic Pokemon? Purple. Um, yeah. So Hagenti is a president, appears in the form of a bull with mighty. Hagenti in Pokemon is Hitmonchan. How do they get Hitmonchan? We don't know. But what we do know is if you look at Hitmonchan, he does kind of have a bull head. He is brown. That's another color for a president. Earth is brown. And he does have these griffin wings, like these shoulder pads that look kind of like griffin wings. They look kind of wingish. And he's pretty fast Pokemon. He punches pretty hard, and he puts on a human shape. And he has those red boxing gloves, like bulls love the color red. He has those wings. He is pretty wise. Transmutes all metals into gold, and should change wine into water and water into wine. So I guess he could punch the blood out of you, right? Anyways, but if we look at his sigil, it kind of does look like Hitmonchan punching. Like, he punches really fast like that, right? So you kind of have to use your brain. You have to be a little bit creative. I'm sorry if you don't have I'm sorry if you didn't have a childhood and it didn't develop an imagination in you. I'm sorry if you're insufficient or inadequate. It's not my fault. It's your fault, because you didn't worship God. So, like, I can worship the devil and worship God, because for me, I'm God, and the devil is one of my angels that I use to destroy humans. Sorry. And I can still be the devil, and I can still be God. I could be Archangel Michael. I could be Archangel Gabriel. I could be all of it. And you can't, because that's what God is, right? He takes different forms. He can take as many forms as he wants. He's omnipotent. That is all. I am all. We are all. Get over it. But some people are stuck. Their brains are stuck. They're made out of mud. They're mush. They fucked it up by drugs and alcohol and bad talk, and they ruined their life. So it's not my fault you ruined your life. You can't blame me that I'm further ahead than you. All right. But remember, I'm the turtle in the race. You're the hare. You're the rabbit. You ran past everything, but you didn't take time to learn. You just ran past everything. I took my time, and I won. So it's not my fault. It's not my fault that I won, right? I'm glad I won, and you didn't. Because if you won, then the world would be fucked up. But I have to destroy the world now, so at least I'm doing it, not you, right? Like, when they're like, I can make fun of my brothers and sisters, but you can't, right? Crochel, the 49th spirit is Crocle Crochel. He appears in the form of an angel. In Pokemon, this is Lickitung. Licky. He is a duke, great and strong, speaking something mystically of hidden things. He teacheth the art of geometry and the liberal sciences. He, at the command of the exorcist, will produce great noises like the rushings of many waters, although there be none. All right, so he teaches the art of geometry, which is math, and that's what we're doing with the math on the board, and liberal sciences. Liberal sciences is how do you free yourself from this world and not be stupid. He had the command of the exorcist. So basically, like, let's say long time ago you are born into being a slave, right? And then you would learn liberal sciences, so you don't have to be a slave anymore. You can take a trade, and that trade will help you be liberal because you'll make money and you'll be self-sufficient. Usually, when you're born into a slave or you're made into a slave, it's because um, you are you don't have something, right? So when you're homeless, you don't have something. So you have to become a slave. So that way you could work for somebody and get somewhere later on. So your master is basically you're an apprentice to them. You're their servant so you can get up in life. And they reward you for it, right? So they'll give you like more wine, more water. They'll let you celebrate with them every now and then. Um, you know, and it might be different. You might become their best friend, and then they just help you get to where you need to be. It's not the way you guys think it is. All right. You guys were taught history. Some history is bad. Some history is good. Some of it's true. Some of it's a lie. At the end of the day, I'm right and you're wrong. He teaches the art of geometry and all the liberal sciences. He, at the command of the exorcist, will produce great noises like the rushings of many waters. So he can produce a lot of noises. That's synchronicity. So you know how you hear the buses and the cars outside? Sometimes I'll say things like, I'm God, or I'm Jesus, or this is how things work. And then you hear a loud noise that goes like, bing, confirmed, bing, confirmed, bing, confirmed. Those are how you ask for signs. It can drive you a little bit mad if you're not a professional magician, because it's like when you receive a sign from God, the world moves around you and it follows what you're thinking. So you hear all these noises. You'll be like, God, are you listening? And then it'll be like, boom, yes, I'm listening. You'll hear a sign, you'll get a sign, you know? He can do stuff like that. Although there be none, he warmeth waters and discovereth baths. He warmeth waters and discovereth baths. We know in King Solomon's time and in King David's time, like King David saw, I think it was King Solomon actually. Well, Bathsheba. Why did they call her Bathsheba? Water, right? In a Jewish tradition, we have a mikvah where you go in the water and you purify yourself. So you wash yourself. Taking a bath, being clean is a good thing. Washing your face, etc. Taking a shower, go do those kinds of things. Stop being gross and nasty. He warmeth waters and discovereth baths. So that's also that kind of slave mentality, right? Because when you're a slave, you don't have the luxury of a home. You're a nomad. And when you're homeless, you're a nomad. You don't got any luxuries. So you have to go find a homeless shelter to take care of you, to give you water, to feed you, to give you a bath, to give you a shower, a safe place to be clean. And because you need to be clean to live a good life, you have to. If you don't have that, you're just a wild, nasty, dirty vagrant. Even who baptized Jesus? Who baptized Jesus? He lived at like a river. He baptizes a bath. It's a purification. It's a ritual, but it's every day. You take a bath every day, so you're being baptized every day. You need it. You need to be baptized every day. Get over it. You don't love Jesus? I do. All right. He was the order of protostates or powers. So protostates are things that are saying like this is how things work. Powers are like this is strength, right? So when you have a master and you're a slave, you're like he's teaching you like this is how the world works. Um, Being a service to others, right? So even the people that are their masters, they're usually serving somebody else as well. And then they serve somebody else and they serve the king, me, the Messiah, right? So I'm the Pharaoh, you serve me. But you guys don't know how to do that. So Crochel might be the perfect spirit to teach you guys. And since he's a power, there might be something in him that he's able to do to really pack a punch. And if he's working with Hitmonchan, Hagenti, a bull, so maybe they're working together to like really strike you. So you can see Hagenti as the bull, and you can see Crochel because he's a duke. That's an air sign. So you can see him as his wings. So you're sending this bull everywhere, the red bull. Okay, in the last unicorn, there's a red bull that herds all the unicorns, right? So we can use your imagination, use your brain, use your knowledge. Let's see. He was the order of potestates and powers. Before his fall, as he declared unto the King Solomon, he governs 48 legions of spirits. And you'll be like, well, fallen angels this, fallen angels that. Shut up. If you didn't have those fallen angels, you wouldn't exist. Basically, think of it this way. A fallen angel is somebody that's really high up there, right? but they take their time out of their life, out of their perfect existence, to come down to earth to help us. So when you pray, that angel that comes to you, that's a fallen angel, because he's coming down from heaven. He's falling down from heaven to help you, to be around your dirtiness, right? That's why they come to me, because I'm clean. They're like, it's not that hard when you're as clean as King David. All right. So don't be mad that you're dirty, gross, and wrong. Hey, we're learning, right? 48 legions of spirits. Oh, he rules over 48 legions, so he rules over Hagenti, so he rules over that bull, that Taurus. So this is the intelligence of that bull. Those wings are the main intelligence of that bull. So those wings on that bull are what is like allowing him. And usually when you see the thrones of God, he has four spirits. One is a cherubim that has all these heads. I think another one has a whole bunch of eagle heads, another one has a whole bunch of bull heads, and another one has a whole bunch of lion heads. So this one's letting you know that even though it's a bull, it has a man's head, right? And he has those wings. So that's definitely Shemesh. And that's why they would put them on their walls to protect them. And it's still standing till this day. And only until recently did they start chipping away at it, at those kind of statues. But it's good because you have to destroy those old phylacteries, those old vessels, so that the spirit can come out and be angry. Because it's like, oh, you humans think you can do whatever you want, don't you? And then they come back even harder and stronger, right? Hopefully you can hear me really, really well. I want to be like so close that you guys hear me perfectly. All right, cool. So we're learning a lot about the spirits. So licky tongue, huh? Licky. All right. So he warmeth baths. In Pokemon, you'd be like, well, licky tongue has nothing to do with that. Yes, he does. He's based off of a yokai that licks the bathroom clean with his tongue. Now, why would he lick a bathroom clean? Why would they pick that one to if they didn't have any idea what this spirit was? They knew what they were doing. Pokemon knows what they're doing. They're game freaks. They're Pokemon masters. They know what's going on. This is the Ars Goetia. Pokemon are based off of this. That's why he's called Ash Ketchum, because he's an Ashkenazi. Ashkenazi Jews are the only ones who can use this book. I'm an Ashkenazi Jew. You humans, you really don't know shit, do you? That's a sign. You heard that? Yeah, you dumbasses. All right, so let's see. Seriously, you guys are stupid. Who else are we gonna look at? I just want to show you his sigil so you can see the tongue. So you can see licky tongues. All right, so look at his sigil. That's a tongue. That's a cup. It's the shape of a tongue. If you don't know that, you're stupid. All right, I'm not sorry about that. You're just mentally insufficient in your brain. And to anybody that's like seriously mentally ill, like, God bless you. You're a wonderful person. You deserve to live. You deserve to have a good life. And don't let anybody stop you from achieving your dreams. But if you're somebody that thinks you're the smartest person in the world, if you're somebody that thinks that you have it all together, you don't. You're just a liar. You're just a fake. You're just a wannabe. And I don't believe in you. I don't believe in anything you say. You're not chosen. Because at the end of the day, you're gonna end up in hell, and everything you think and all your opinions, they do not matter. But I'm gonna go to heaven, so that means that I'm righteous, right? That means I'm holy. And we can put that to the test. I put it to the test every day, and I will love it if you did it to me as well. Because you do anyways, and you keep losing and I keep winning. Because I should be dead, right? If I proclaim that I'm God and the devil and all these other things and I know everything, I should be dead by now. Last night I had a dream that I was running for president and everybody was voting for me and everybody loved me and they were really happy. So that's a good sign. That's like, oh, something like that can happen for me, and lets me know the spirits are in line with my values and my ideas. And even people in the astral realm are like, we want you, King David. We don't want anybody else anymore. So I'm doing this spell where I bring in all the real followers, the true believers together, and we destroy the non-believers. The ones that don't believe I'm the Messiah, that don't believe that I'm Jesus. So I want it to be a righteous, holy movement. But I'm not trying to build a cult. I'm not trying to build a a YouTube following. I'm not trying to be an entertainer. I'm not trying to be. I'm not trying to make a career out of being somebody that is selling you something, right? I'm trying to just. I'm trying to teach you guys how to worship me because you don't know how to worship me. You guys are stupid. And then if you're a true believer, I still have to teach you because you're stupid because you're stuck in the world of the non-believers. You're stuck in their world, so you're stupid just like them. But we'll wash you clean and get you right so you can do the right thing, right? Because you don't want to be stupid. Trust me, you don't want to be dumb. I think dumb means that you can't speak, and deaf means you can't hear, and blind means you can't see. And we don't want any of that for you. We want you to be complete and happy with your life. That's why Jesus can heal the blind. He's like, hey, I know you can't see, but you can still think, and you know that I'm Jesus, so that means you can see, even if you're blind. And maybe he healed him, maybe he didn't, but at the end of the day, that guy wasn't blind anymore, right? So you can't say it anymore. You can't say that that guy didn't know who Jesus was because he knew who Jesus was. Yeah, so we're learning, right? Okay, I kind of just wanted to make that video, make it kind of simple, make it kind of easy. Still morning, I gotta eat breakfast. I had my AA meeting this morning. It was super fun. I'm super happy that I got to win the Yu-Gi-Oh tournament yesterday. There's gonna be another one Friday, and it's gonna be Genesis, and it's gonna be Primites. So I'm like, maybe I'll use Yubel, maybe I'll use Crystal Beast. I'm not really trying to win, but if I win, I'll be happy. But if I don't, I don't. If I do, I do. But that's why I'm like, should I use the Crystal Beast? Because they don't really win, but I might be able to do something a little bit with them if nobody's gonna be negating my cards, and they have to rely on their cards' effects. I'm gonna do some bull rituals. That's pretty cool, right? Yeah. Why does Sagittarius make sense with the bull? Just for a minute, let's look at this. We see that Sagittarius is right next to this Earth, so obviously that's the bull. This is Virgo, that's still Earth spirits. But let's see. At nighttime, this would be 12 a.m. 12 a.m. is in the early morning, right? Yeah. 12 p.m. is in the evening. So 12 a.m., 1 a.m. So this is 12. This is 12 a.m. This is 1 a.m. So yeah, we get the bull right here, right? Taurus is 1 a.m. But if you were to go this way, it would be 11 p.m. in this Venus area with this bull. So yeah, you're kind of learning how it works, right? Yeah, they say that they have all these priests ready at the third temple to like start working there. I want them to do all those things. I want them to sacrifice the red heifer. I want them to work in Jerusalem. I want the third temple to be built. I want it to happen. So I know the truth, right? So if they build it and they don't build it for me and they're not involving me in it, I want them to keep doing it, to keep growing, to get stronger. So that when I destroy them, all the pieces that fall hit everybody and not just them. It's going to hit everybody. Massive impact. So it can go two ways, right? Either they can worship me or they can't, or they don't worship me and they keep going. But if they just included me in it, right? If they just put me in the process of it and they're like, hey, we believe you're King David. We believe you're the Moshiach Rebbeah. We believe in it. And they put me to work. Like they utilize me in that system the way I want to be utilized, the way a king should be utilized, the way the Messiah should be utilized, the way Jesus should be worshipped. If you met Jesus and you were like, hey, I need your help with the third temple, what are you going to do? You're going to be like, can you give me advice? Can you help me? Can you lead the process? I got something really to smack you hard with. Let's say Tom Cruise, all right, was supporting the third temple. What are they going to do? They're going to be like, hey, Tom Cruise, can you do like an opening for us? Can you do a speech for us? Can you do this for us? We'll pay you. Why can't you do that for me? If I'm the Messiah, if I'm God and Jesus, why can't you do that for me, right? Because I am. So why can't you do that for me so I can do that for you? It's just a thought. that I want to leave you guys on. And if it doesn't make sense, you're stupid. Then that means you're a non-believer and you're stuck around a lot of non-believers, right? But if you want to be wise and smart, think about it, learn, and pray on it, all right? Catch you later. Bye.